All right, here we go. Let's check out what we got. All right, Amy, I'm going to promote you to a panelist. Get my big old head out of the way. All right. Now, we good?
Good.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Cool. So tonight will be kind of fun. It's a little weird one that no one likes. No one thinks they want to talk about until we talk about it tonight. The elbow. How many elbow injuries have you seen so far?
A lot.
Yes, you have.
Weekly, I see them.
Yeah. So it's one of the number one sought after and one of the more expensive things that occurs that people don't realize until it's too late. So elbow injuries, tennis elbow, this one thing called epicondylitis. Lots of things can happen there, and that's where tonight will be pretty good. So I couldn't find a lot of great articles this week as much as I did the other couple. So I got a couple that I'd like to bring up because it just during the week I have a patient going in for surgery. I think we're doing a knee surgery. Yeah. So in about 3 weeks. And so what I mentioned to her was that I typically, if I know it before you do it, I will make you do garlic every day at a certain amount as before the surgery. The reason is because of the basically it's a hedge against kind of getting those infections during surgery. So a lot of times, a lot of holistic, really good one. And then I learned one this weekend on the same kind of thing will help with, so after surgery, doing the same garlic regimen, and we'll talk about why, but curcumin, which is the pigmentation that has a lot of the anti-inflammatory effects in turmeric or ginger, those kind of things. So curcumin is that active ingredient. We've talked about it a little bit, but those two, if somebody's going in for a surgery, regardless of the surgery, can help heal you better, right? Garlic is this huge, just general immune system builder. And a lot of times people shy away from it because they do smell like an Italian kitchen. And I get that. But as like as we get into this stuff, there are times where you'll want to do that. Garlic could be another one to your fall or whatever is happening in Michigan right now. I am like burnt to a toast from Saturday being 80 degrees and out there, and then today and tomorrow is going to be like 40.
I know, it's crazy.
It's nuts. But so you'll have those up and downs, which will lead to colds and viruses and all that stuff. So this is a good time to like tonight would be a good night, or tomorrow, to make sure your vitamin D and zinc, or your all of those ones, the vases, the vitamin, what was it? How did that go? Vitamin E, D, E, and selenium, right?
Yep.
So, and then the quinine was the add-on.
Yep.
And then if you want to start doing garlic, if you got something, garlic is just, it's a really good one. It's nice and general. Kind of reminds me of like just an email thing on I did not this herbal holistic stuff. Oh, if you haven't talked to us about it, it's so cool. Like, I can't believe how good it's turning out to be. Is just, I feel like we're helping people better, like in the sense of all that. So anyway, but we were talking chamomile tea again, because chamomile tea is such a good overall body, regardless of you're an adult or a child. So those are some little things I found this week. Hopefully I'll get some other cool ones out there. There's a few. There's one I'm researching. I got to see how to do it before I tell you about it. But you do peroxide as a breathing treatment, and it like kills most viruses.
Wow.
But I don't know much I have to research that one before I
Yeah.
tell you to do that, right? So yeah. So tonight I want to talk about the elbow. The elbow it's very similar in its anatomy to the knee, because it's reliant on different joints other than itself. Does that make sense? So your wrist has to move correctly, and your shoulder, which is a lot of the times what happens. Many times someone will come into the office, and in the medical world, in a sick care model where you're looking directly at the symptom, I don't see that ever going away, and unfortunately it leads to a lot of missed areas, and that's where chiropractic and the holistic philosophy of what we do comes in. So a lot of times I won't even look at the elbow at first. I will look everywhere else but the elbow. And so and what I mean by that is we got to see how the mechanics are working, because the elbow itself, once you have a problem there, it's sometimes it is the elbow for sure, right? But something else mechanically is going on in your life that is causing that to happen. And a lot of times we find it, quite a few times, it's your shoulder, or those kind of things. So tonight we're going to go over a couple like shorter videos. They're not too bad. I just want to show you the mechanics of the elbow, because you have two bones that essentially have to work perfect. One that flexes your arm kind of this direction, and then with like bends it this way, right? And then this is gonna suck. So, and then this way, right? So you have a rotation aspect, and one's radius and one's an ulna. Now, what's interesting is that it's so important, but we never think about it. But at the hand portion is where a lot of things can go awry that you don't think about. So wrist, elbow, shoulder are really connected, after, that's what's so crazy about holistic. You can keep going so deep, right? So an engineer once told me this one, and it really fits well with holistic. Ask 5 whys. Okay, so we're gonna go through it right now. So my elbow hurts. Well, why? Well, I hurt my shoulder. Why did you hurt your shoulder? Well, I sleep on it, and that way it knocked out a thoracic vertebrae that stopped the muscles of the shoulder from working, right? Well, why did you sleep weird? So you can go in this whole 5 whys until you find the answer. So a lot of times it's asking questions of yourself and continuing that journey. So I will start. So I'm going to go get screen share real quick. Oh, where to go? Is that where I want to go? Maybe. Okay. I hope nothing happens here. I think. Okay. Oh, yeah. I don't need this. Okay. Let's start with an anatomy tutorial first. Okay.
I used one simple
Except
webinar
for these
presentation
guys.
to produce $2 million in the past 12 months. It was 100%
joints, ligaments, tendons, muscles, nerves, blood vessels. The bones of the elbow include the humerus, or the upper arm bone, the ulna, the larger bone of the forearm,
Can you turn it up a little?
Yep.
and the radius, the smaller bone of the forearm on the same side.
Oh.
Hinge, meaning it bends and straightens like a hinge. But there is a second joint where the end of the radius, or the radial head, meets the humerus. This joint is complicated because the radius has to rotate as you turn your hand palm up and palm down, while at the same time it has to slide against the end of the humerus as the elbow bends and straightens. To make this motion possible, the radial head is shaped like a smooth knob with a shallow cup at the end. The shallow cup fits against the capitellum, a rounded knob at the end of the humerus that forms part of the elbow joint. The smooth rim of the radial head is also covered with articular cartilage and glides against a small indentation in the ulna. Articular cartilage is the material that covers the ends of the bones of any joint. Articular cartilage can be up to 1/4 of an inch thick in the large weight-bearing joints. It is a bit thinner in joints such as the elbow, which is more weight. Articular cartilage is white, shiny, and has a rubbery consistency. It is slippery, which allows the joint surfaces to slide against one another without causing any damage. Articular cartilage functions to absorb shock and provide an extremely smooth surface to make motion easier. We have articular cartilage essentially everywhere that two bony surfaces move against one another or articulate. In the elbow, articular cartilage covers the end of the humerus, the end of the radius, and the end of the ulna. There are several important ligaments in the elbow. Ligaments are soft tissue structures that connect bones.
All right, I'm gonna have you guys pay attention to this part a little bit because this is kind of important as he's going through there. I don't care if you know the names, that doesn't matter. Watch so in holistic and what we were created to do, you're gonna see why the ligaments are prepared the way they are, right? And so with that, you can see kind of why you would have issues, or what are the motions that that said you needed a ligament to make sure it was all good, right? So that's what, just kind of pay attention to that. Don't worry about the words necessarily, right?
The ligaments around the joint are connected with a thin layer of connective tissue and form a structure called the joint capsule. The joint capsule is a watertight sac that surrounds the joint and contains lubricating fluid called synovial fluid. In the elbow, two of the most important ligaments are the medial collateral ligament and the lateral collateral ligament. The medial collateral ligament is on the inside edge of the elbow. The lateral collateral ligament is on the outside edge. Together, these two ligaments connect the humerus to the ulna and keep it tightly in place as it slides through the groove at the end of the humerus. These ligaments are the main source of stability for the elbow. They can be torn when there is an injury or dislocation to the elbow. If they do not heal correctly, the elbow can be too loose or unstable. Another important ligament for elbow function is the annular ligament. This ligament wraps around the radial head and holds it tight against the ulna. The word annular means ring-shaped, and the annular ligament forms a ring around the radial head as it holds it in place. This ligament can be torn when the entire elbow or just the radial head is dislocated.
This is my nerdness, but look how cool that ligament is. That is crazy that the body creates a ligament that holds that in where it needs to go and allows that rotation in there. But I will let you watch.
There are several important tendons around the elbow. Biceps tendon attaches the large biceps muscle on the front of the arm to the radius. It allows the elbow to bend with force. You can feel this tendon crossing the front crease of the elbow when you tighten the biceps muscle. The triceps tendon connects the large triceps muscle on the back of the arm with the ulna. It allows the elbow to straighten with force, such as when you perform a push-up. The muscles of the forearm cross the elbow and attach to the humerus. The outside or lateral bump just above the elbow is called the lateral epicondyle. Most of the muscles that straighten the fingers and wrist all come together in one tendon to attach in this area. The inside or medial bump just above the elbow is called the medial epicondyle. Most of the muscles that bend the fingers and wrist all come together in one tendon to attach in this area. These two tendons are important because they are a common location of pain caused by a condition called tendonitis, or perhaps more accurately, tendinosis. All of the nerves that travel down the arm pass across the elbow. Three main nerves begin together at the shoulder: the radial nerve, the ulnar nerve, and the median nerve. These nerves carry signals from the brain to the muscles that move the arm and hand. The nerves also carry signals back to the brain about sensations such as touch, pain, and temperature. Some of the more common problems around the elbow involve problems with the nerves. Each nerve travels through its own tunnel as it crosses the elbow. Because the elbow must bend a great deal, the nerves must bend as well. constant bending and straightening can lead to irritation or pressure on the nerves within their tunnels and cause problems such as pain, numbness, and weakness in the arm and hand.
This is where I want you to think a little differently. Okay, so what he said is kind of the medical way to think about it. Okay, so he said there's a problem with the nerve. With the things that we're going to learn in the 1% tribe and what we're going to do, and I want you to think differently. The nerve isn't the problem. The mechanics are, right? The nerve is just doing its thing. But like he's saying, you get tendonitis, you get bad mechanics in these different locations. That causes the nerve to be interfered with. That stops the flow and the communication pattern. So just remember that as you go, because so many people get sucked into, I have a nerve pinched and that's it, right? It's what it is. But in all reality, it's like, why would it get pinched when it was working before? So that's just a thought.
These conditions are sometimes called nerve entrapment or nerve compression syndromes. Traveling along with the nerves are the large vessels that supply the arm and hand with blood. The largest artery is the brachial artery that travels across the front crease of the elbow. If you place your hand in the bend of your elbow, you may be able to feel the pulsing of this large artery. The brachial artery splits into two branches just below the elbow, the ulnar artery and the radial artery. These two branches continue into the hand. Damage to the brachial artery can be very serious because it is the major blood supply to the forearm. As you can see, the elbow is more than simply a hinge. It is designed to provide maximum stability as we position our forearm to use our hand. When you realize all the different ways we use our hands every day and all the positions in which we place our hands, it is easy to understand how hard daily life can be when the elbow doesn't work well.
All right. So there's one, and we'll talk a little bit if we want to do another one. Hang on. Oh, stop share there. Okay. So a lot of times that guy does a really good job. I'm glad to find him on this one. A really good job of like breaking down the motion. But you can see how one of the things that's fascinating is that no muscle just attaches to the elbow, right? It has either the wrist involved, and then it attaches across the elbow, or the shoulder involved, and then it attaches across the elbow, right? So because of the power that you can get with that elbow, a lot of times these smaller injuries that go unchecked essentially, lead to this kind of random elbow injury, because a lot of times the elbow itself goes, let's say your shoulder doesn't hurt, right? So you have this adaptation to this bad shoulder that's happening, right? And so once that occurs, the elbow stops functioning as it should, right? And so but the elbow may be the initial part because it's the pain is very close because you got a few nerves that are right there. It's no joke when they talk about the funny bone getting hit, because you have one of the closest nerves to the surface of your body in the elbow, and that's why that happens. But so do you have any questions so far, Amy, or are you good? Okay. All right. I'm going to go into a couple more. I think I'm going to try get you another one. I got one guy that's crazy. I might add him in just because his face makes me laugh. So I'm going to do him first. He is, yes. Sorry about this.
Do you know you can make $50K per month or more using LinkedIn?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Move Well, Live Well. We get a number of people that are coming in here with issues regarding their elbow, their forearm, and their wrists, and sometimes in their fingers too. And what's going on with these folks? They're coming in and they've been told that, or they think they may have tennis elbow because it's pain on kind of the elbow, the outside part of the elbow right here. kind of on the thumb side, if you will, and kind of in this area right here, this part of the forearm, and even weakness with when it hurts when they extend their fingers like this, and sometimes weakness with gripping. So what's going on here with these folks? It's a condition known as radial tunnel syndrome. What the heck is that? Well, it kind of mimics tennis elbow, and some people with tennis elbow also have this, but the tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. In other words, it's pain at that lateral epicondyle of the humerus, so the upper arm bone, pinpoint tenderness right there. Well, what this is just down from that, this musculature right here in the forearm, there's the radial nerve, and then as it dives deep, it turns into the posterior interosseous nerve, PIN for short, and it's getting trapped in there, and it's causing all kinds of weird symptoms, pain, discomfort.
So I'm going to skip a little bit ahead just to get to the exercise, even though he does good. He makes me laugh, but we'll get to the first exercise that he recommends.
Now, the first exercise involves your forearm. Now, when you're doing these exercises, you don't want to have your elbow fully extended. You want it extended, but not fully locked out, just short of being locked out. That's what we usually recommend. And so in this, let's say I'm having problems with my right arm. This is my right arm here. I'm having pain and discomfort right down here in the forearm, in the elbow. And these are supination, pronation gliding. So what you're doing is like pretend you're grabbing a ball. If you want, you can grab a ball just like that. And you're just doing this back and forth 20 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do that for another 10. So that way you get 10 going each way. And what you're doing here is you're allowing that radial nerve to move through the soft tissues, especially right in through here, where in the forearm, where the radial nerve dives deep and turns into the posterior interosseous nerve, where you gain that radial tunnel syndrome going on. So you're doing these back and forth just like this, and be deliberate with it. So when you do this, you want to make sure you're getting the end.
Okay, so you've seen that one. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
For just a second. So what you do is you're here like this. So you have your arm. Let's say this is my right side. I'm having problems right in here. And what I'm doing is I'm taking it down like this. So my thumb is here. I'm taking it down and inward, and I'm going back behind me like this. See that? So now my palm is facing up, but behind me like this. So you're kind of like this and like that. But now you're also tilting your head like this. So boom, boom. And now you're not going to fully lock out your elbow, just shy of locking out your elbow. So here you are. Give me a tip. We call it the waiter's tip. So give me a tip. Boom. Like that. Give me a tip. And then you're also at the same time, as you get to here, you're tilting your head to the side, the opposite side. See that? Boom. Again, do about 10 to 15 reps here. Boom. Boom. And these can be very, very sensitive. You could just be in here like this, and you can kind of already feel it in giving you symptoms. So again, do this to your tolerance. It can be very osseous.
Okay, here's a third one.
Branch of the radial nerve. They get it unentrapped or decompressed through its pathway. So what you do is you stand like this, and you have your palm face down, just like this. And all you're doing is simply going to wrist flexion, right? So your fingers down like this, and then fingers up. Hand down, fingers up. Now again, just shy of lockout. You're not gonna, just shy of lockout. And then boom. And again, 10 to 15 reps in through here like this, nice and deliberate. And then you can also add in, as you point your fingers down, you can tilt your head away from the involved side. This is not left side now. So let's pretend I'm having it.
Now remember that as you go, what he's doing with the movement of your spine is what is kind of a newer newer theory. It's been a very new theory. It's called like flossing the nerve. And so a lot of times you'll see it with a lot of other spots on our body. We don't think necessarily of it, where you're trying to get that nerve as far in and out of every joint. So if you think of stretching your arm out as far as you can and then tipping your head away, like I can even feel that now. It's something that I would, after this, I'm going to be working this in my morning routine. Because what happens is that nerve, the more you're able to like move away, that's the furthest your nerve will ever have to travel. Does that make sense? So as that's moving, you start doing stuff that stretches all the way out and then all the way in. And a lot of times you'll get an actual looseness in there, because sometimes I'll give you an example. Like, so I think we're good on that, Amy. Yeah, we got that. Okay. So a lot of times if I was coaching a sport right now, I would add a lot of these type of movements. Like with what we did with the feet, I do the same thing. The reason is because probably the biggest joint we don't think about that needs to stay the strongest is our hands. Okay. So with our hands, if we don't have strong hands, we can't have a good elbow. That's just the thing. Now, a lot of us have jobs that you better have some strong hands to do the job, right? So Amy does massages. I do chiropractic stuff. I work this all the time. And what was cool about doing the elbow is I'll give you my own experience. Like, so before chiropractic, when I was playing college football, I ended up with a thumb injury. Now I understand it. It's, however many years later, but my thumb got jammed into the ground hard. And it was one of those where I knew it wasn't broken, but it wasn't going to get better in months. And you're still playing. So you just tape it up and do your thing. And as we were doing that, what was fascinating was just the thumb. Like that thumb was the only thing that hurt. The only thing. And so as the season goes on, I started noticing my elbow wouldn't extend completely out anymore. It would actually just bend, like literally, let me see if I can bring it. So about to there. And so I thought, and I had met other college football guys before that have had similar issues where they can't bend their elbows. So I thought back then, I go, well, that's probably normal for the sport we chose. So later on, we get to chiropractic school and I meet my guy. I'm going to show you a little, you might not need as much any more anatomy stuff. So I might not show Dr. Mitch Malley, who is fantastic as a teacher and intense guy. He was the first time I ever seen like chiropractic with elbow injuries, and he's made a living. And I believe our practice will grow stronger and stronger as we keep introducing these. But he said a lot of times, I mean, he'll have days of he is the elbow guy, right? Like that's what they talk about in his clinic, because no one knows how to approach the mechanics of it. So he approaches me, and once you're done with the class, you get to evaluate. So he adjusts my wrist and my thumb, and I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be a shoulder thing, because that's what I was thinking. So it must be because I'm so strong in the shoulders that my mechanics got screwed up or something. So then it wasn't that at all. It was this thumb and the wrist. And as soon as he did that, it was like almost instant. I had the almost full range of motion. And then because of the inflammation that was there, that's one reason why we at our office have a cold laser, because the rest of the way, I've never had an elbow problem again, because then the treatment, we did the adjustment pieces and then added the cold laser therapy that Amy runs. And this one didn't necessarily need some of these other ones, but that's what's so cool about watching this go. But so these little tiny movements are I'm not gonna say hi, Sadie. I'm not doing it. I know you're not gonna. trouble. But yeah, those little movements that he was just doing are fantastic. And how long does it take you to do it? Right? Not very long. Not very long at all. So I would say tonight the biggest takeaway I would say is just those three exercises by itself, and a new focus on getting your arm strength and your grip strength really, really good. So, you know, in a perfect world, you should be able to grab a pull-up bar and hang there for a while. Okay. That'll tell you how good your grip strength is. It's kind of like your feet, right? So the stronger your feet are, the better those other joints will be. So if I took you right now, you don't have to tell me how this turns out, but if you grabbed that bar, how long could you hold it? Right? Wonder what how long would normal be? Hang on. Let me go.
You should experiment on that yourself,
I'm scared. How long?
because your grip strength could be great, but if you got a lot of junk in your trunk, you're not going to be able to hold yourself up there very long.
Well, that's the thing. How long should you be able to hold yourself up on a pull-up bar? Well, that's the neat thing. It's a good challenge. 30 seconds is pretty typical. But that's a good statement. And what's cool about that is it's kind of like reverse traction too. So if you got good at it and it was 10 seconds, right? It's no big deal. I have one basketball guy. I looked over, we play hoops on Saturday morning, and then I look over at him and he's doing that. He's just hanging, right? So you get a little traction actually on the rest of your body if you start getting good at that. So, and if you're ever on a cliff and you have to, no, I'm just kidding. So, but the idea of just being able to, let's say you just try it, 5 seconds, try that. So get one of those little pull-up bars. You know, pull-ups are pull-ups. They can be tough. And if you got some junk in the trunk, then you don't have, there's assist pieces too that I didn't even know of. There's one, I have a pull-up bar, but I have these, it's like a 3 resistance bands. You put your foot in it and then you can go up pretty easy. And then as you go down, you reduce the amount of resistance bands in that piece as an assist. You don't need the whole giant, assist thing where you put your knees on it or anything. But yeah, these are definitely things that if we start looking at like how to keep those elbows good, I would suggest, because of how physical our work is, a lot of my blue collar people, the biggest thing before strength would be getting them flexed out, right? So making sure we're doing that motion, right? Man, that is weird with that screen in the back. So that type of motion where you're turning on and off, take a ball or a weighted ball and turn it. That would be good. Remember that one where you're doing behind your back in a way, and then just bringing it back out around, and then the one out here in a way. Simple stuff that you can do, and you're going to be better off for it. You'll feel it, just like our You Want to Live Longer. If you go back to our old videos, if you're not subscribed, go to tribe1.substack.com and just get on the email list. Once you do that, you can go into the site and all our videos are there. But the You Want to Live Longer one's really good as well. It gets all those joints kind of hit, but now we'll do real specific stuff. So that is what I have for tonight. So you guys,
I'm gonna incorporate those stretches. I have a handful of people that we've been working on some tennis elbow stuff, and their pain is all different. Some of it's more tricep, some of it's more right in the elbow forearm. But I didn't even think about those exercises. So we've been doing massage, gua sha, laser, whatever, and it's all helping. But I bet if I have them do even just one of those, it'll help a lot.
I think in terms of elbow, wrist, shoulder type exercises, it's gonna have to be like, if you can kind of go in your brain, like barefoot walking, right?
Yeah.
It's an improvement, but it's a way longer improvement process. Like, it's going to take a long time because these are the most used pieces of your human body.
Mhm.
This is where me and Amy it's going to be sweet, but maybe a subconscious program showed you how to work your shoulder the entire time. And
Yeah.
maybe we figure out and evaluate what that is. And eventually, I'm so excited. And for those that don't know, like, Amy has gone into some training that's going to allow us to help those old memory, the muscle memory. It's going to be a really good job on fixing a lot of that a lot quicker than it typically would be. So not only are we going to do the therapies, now we'll actually be able to, watch you change your entire muscle memory rather quickly. So we're pretty pumped about that. There's a lot to it that is fascinating. It's percent tribe people like crazy because, just the knowledge. It's all right. Sadie, right? I know. It's good. I
You
love
took care of me now.
Hi, Sadie. You got school tomorrow?
You going to school tomorrow? She says yes.
Oh. Did the Easter Bunny come?
Please come.
He did. Did he hide rocks?
Did he hide rocks?
My Easter Bunny used to hide rocks. What?
Egg.
Eggs? What was in the eggs?
Chocolate.
Oh, I only got rocks. Like peanut rocks. I don't know. Did you believe that?
You got
Man.
right.
Got eggs.
Where's your elbow?
Where's your elbow?
On the camera. Right there. All right. So now you're going to learn 2 words, Sadie,
What's
tonight.
he teaching me? He's teaching 2 words.
You're going to say this bone here. Point. If you point to it, this one's your radius. Can you say radius?
She whispered it.
Did. All right. The one that makes you go like this. That's called your ulna.
Say Oma.
Your mama ulna.
She said
Ulna.
it.
Good job. You are going to be a doctor. I can see it. If you want to be. I know. That'd be cool. Right? Radius and ulna. When you go to school, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's pretty good. I'll
Yep.
ask. Do you have any other questions though? It's
No.
pretty simple, but you can see how in Amy's experience, the biggest thing that I would say is how painful it is. It's absolutely excruciating. Knock somebody down for the count if something happens to that elbow. And that's one of the things that you notice a lot. A lot of these other injuries, you adapt yourself and kind of can survive. But when an elbow goes, it is no fun. So I will ask. So I have Christy tonight. Christy,
Nothing sounds good.
Jess up here as well. Either of you two have any questions?
I do not.
Nothing sounds good.
You all good? All right. So with that, I'm excited. I think I might have a special guest coming next week for our brain health situation, our mindset. He's really bothered that I used to do a podcast
I don't
and I every time I stop doing it because I just run out of time or whatever, he was my next guest all the time. So I promised him this time, because if he does, then he'll come and be one of our number 1 fans. But he's refusing because we haven't had him, because we've had a good talk on like the mindset piece, and I think he has done a fantastic job in his own life to figure this out at a level that I think we all like appreciate and get a good sense for. So with that, I'll leave it at that. We got some other guests that I cannot wait to introduce you all to as we go. I'm gonna try. Oh man, there's another lady that I'd love to talk. I've kind of reached out on Facebook. Her hours are a little different because she's in New Zealand, so
Mhm.
that's, I may just run her old one if I can find it.
Well, couldn't you just record with her at some point and just, have it on here?
Yes,
Like,
we could do that.
Even if you and I had to stay up in the middle of the night to meet with her or whatever, we could just record it and.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking we'll do. Her name, if you ever want to follow her, it's really good. If you have kids, I would just follow her on Facebook or whatever. Her name's Allison Davies, Davies. She is a music therapist, but some of the things she does it's incredible. It's like these little songs and the different things, and it's completely what we want in our lives as far as like mindset goes. So, I have one of them, if I could sing, I would sing it right now because I remember it like after she got done, and that's the power of somebody's gift using it for healing. It's definitely not Jeremy's gift, but with Allison, she has this beautiful voice. And so when she hit that easy lullaby, it was like, holy smokes, you're going to remember that. So that was a really fun podcast back in the day. I think I may have the recording because it'd be totally worth it. A little outdated because it was like right in COVID. So, but it was one of those. But next week will be, I'm hoping he'll say yes because it would be so fun. So anyway, I will stop jabbering. But since we have no questions, I'm excited for next week. And next week is all about the brain again. We'll just have to figure out what he wants to talk about.
Hey, would you like some coffee? There's coffee in here.
Okay, good night.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, you guys. Have a good one. Thank you.